Hey everyone, let's jump right into this explainer. Today we're unpacking a fascinating and frankly a really urgent piece of source material. We're looking at a concise but profoundly potent warning about the current state of our global economy. The title alone, well, it sets the stage for a massive shift in how we understand today's market pressures. So buckle up. We're jumping straight in to confront a single number that is literally shaking the foundation of global markets right at this very moment. Okay, let's dive into this. $95, filling your screen right there. Now, in the context of global markets, you know this isn't just a random data point. It's the price of a single barrel of oil. And the pure shock value of this milestone, it absolutely cannot be overstated. When the source boldly states, oil just hit $95, that exclamation point isn't there just for decoration. It's a blaring siren. A number this high acts as a complete tripwire for the entire global economy. It's the catalyst that changes the whole shebang.
And that brings us to the overarching concept of the text we're analyzing, a crude awakening. It's actually a pretty brilliant play on words when you think about it. We all know the sudden jolt of a rude awakening, right? That sudden, really unpleasant realization of a harsh reality. But by swapping just one letter to make it a crude awakening, the source material explicitly ties this harsh reality directly back to crude oil. It's a clever double meaning telling us that the sudden shock of that $95 price tag is exactly what's jolting us out of any economic complacency we might have had.
Because look, this $95 threshold isn't just a static measurement sitting on a chart. It acts as a direct active trigger. Think of it as the ultimate catalyst. As our source material outlines, hitting $95 creates an immediate widespread alarm across global markets. Oil is the foundational energy source for basically everything. When its price hits this highly elevated threshold, it acts like a starting gun. It creates this powerful ripple effect that starts seeping into the cost of absolutely everything else we interact with. Just think about maritime shipping or global aviation. These are industries where fuel costs dictate survival, and they're instantly passing those massive spikes straight down the supply chain to you and me.
So the crucial point is understanding the absolute severity of this specific threat. We aren't just talking about a mild, temporary inconvenience at the gas pump. The source is specifically warning of a global inflation threat. This $95 catalyst doesn't just bump up prices for a week. It rapidly accelerates the erosion of purchasing power in a way that catches central banks completely off guard. It threatens to severely destabilize economies by making the fundamental cost of doing business and just moving goods around exponentially harder across the entire globe. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast it presents. On one side, we have the immediate reality, the catalyst, oil sitting at $95. It's a hard mathematical fact happening right now. But on the other side, we have the looming consequence, a global threat. The source material simply sets up this equation for us to unpack. It starkly presents the reality that a highly concentrated event, the price of one single commodity, projects a massive, inescapable shadow over the entire global economic landscape. And this brilliantly illustrates why the cause and effect relationship at play here is just so dangerous. The source material frames this as a global inflation threat precisely because of this ripple effect. It's like dropping a heavy stone into a pond, or in this case, a $95 barrel of crude oil into the global market. Those ripples absolutely do not stop near the point of impact. They travel outward fast. Higher transportation costs force higher manufacturing costs, which inevitably dictate higher retail prices. That one localized price surge cascades outward, transforming into an unavoidable worldwide issue. Let's move to and see how this builds, because there's one very specific word in our source text that carries a massive amount of historical weight, and that word is another. You see, the source doesn't just ask if we are heading toward an inflation crisis, it explicitly asks if we are heading toward another inflation crisis. That single word acknowledges that we've been here before, right? It taps into our collective memory of past economic struggles. It's a stark reminder that inflation crises are a cyclical threat, and they can, and do, return with an absolute vengeance when triggered by the right catalyst. Which brings us to the ultimate question posed by our source. Is the world heading toward another inflation crisis? This is really the climax of our explainer today. Everything we've unpacked so far, the crude awakening, that $95 catalyst, the massive sprawling ripple effect, all of it leads precisely to this massive unresolved question. The text places the entire world, all of us, squarely in the crosshairs of this potential crisis. So as we look out at the economic horizon, we can summarize the concise warning given to us by our source material. While the $95 mark for oil is our stark, immediate, and frankly, shocking current reality, the true focus of this text is squarely on what comes next. The source acts as a glaring warning sign on the road ahead, pointing directly toward the future. It uses the present data to alert us to a looming macroeconomic shift that has the potential to impact every single corner of the globe. It really is a masterclass in using one specific data point to signal a much, much broader horizon. And that is exactly where the source material leaves us, with a massive open loop. Is the world heading toward another crisis? The text doesn't offer a comfortable, definitive answer, and neither will we today. Instead, it challenges you to look at the economic horizon and ponder what comes next based on the catalyst we've just examined. What do you think the ripples will hit first? Keep learning, keep questioning, and I will see you next time.